All right, this is day 3 of section 5.9. We're still going to be talking about chords and inscribed angles. So here's the MDI. Pause the video and take a couple minutes to work on finding angle Q. All right, so if we look at angle Q, in order to figure out what the angle is, we have to know what the inscribed arc is. So in order to find the inscribed arc, what we need to do is we need to find out where the vertex is. And then if we follow the vertex out to where it meets the circle, we can see that the inscribed angle is going to be in between those two sides. So this is the inscribed angle, intersected arc for this inscribed angle, angle Q. So we know that the arc is twice as big as the angle. So if we want to figure out what the angle is, we just have to take 110, divide it by 2, so we can see that the angle itself is 55 degrees. Remember that with an inscribed angle, the degrees in the angle should be fewer than the degrees in the arc, because the arc is bigger than the inscribed angle. Central angle is a different story, remember. Central angle is equal to its intersected arc. Same success criteria that we've had before, so if there's anybody that still doesn't have it down, if you need to pause and write this down, that's okay. All right, we're just going to get some examples in today. We're going to start with some easier ones and then work our way up to some more difficult ones. If you need to highlight, there's highlighters up in the front, there are markers, there's colored pencils. If you need to do anything with color coding, that's fine. You guys are going to be responsible for drawing these examples in your notes today. So in the first one, we can see that we have two arcs labeled, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to find the measure of angle Y. So angle Y is this angle right here where that question mark is. And in order to find out what that question mark is, we have to first know what the intersected arc is. And we have to know how many degrees are in the intersected arc to find out how many degrees are in the angle. So again, in order to find the intersected arc, you just follow the sides of the angle out until they touch the circle. And the intersected arc is going to be in between those two sides. So it looks like we don't know what this arc is here, but if we think about what we know of circles, we can see that this arc over here from Y to W is 99 degrees. And we can see that the arc from Y to X is 125 degrees. And we know that in a circle there are 365 degrees total. So if we take 99 plus 125, that would give us 224 degrees. So from X to Y to W is 224 degrees. That means that the remainder from W to X has to add up to 360 degrees. So if we take 360 and subtract 224, we will get, ooh, that's not right, 136 degrees. So we know that the arc from W to X is 136 degrees. Now, if this was a central angle, we would know that the angle itself would also be 136 degrees because central angles are equal to their intersected arc. But an inscribed angle, which is what this is because its vertex is on the circle, inscribed angles are half of their intersected arc. So to find the angle Y, we just have to take 136 degrees, divide that by 2, and we should get 68 degrees. So the measure of angle Y is 68 degrees. Next example. What we're looking for this time is we're trying to figure out what this arc is. So the arc goes from Y to X. And in order to figure out this arc, we need to find out the angle that is associated with it, that it's paired with. So if we follow the endpoints, if we follow the sides back to where they intersect, you can see that the angle that's associated with this arc is angle W, which is 44 degrees. We also know that W is an inscribed angle because its vertex is on the circle. So in order to find this arc, we have to remember what the relationship is between an inscribed angle and its intercepted arc. We know that the arc is twice as big as the angle. So if we know what the angle is, we just multiply that by 2, and we can see that the arc is 88 degrees. Next example, we're making it a little bit more complicated. If you see here, we have to figure out x, which is out here on the arc SR. So if we think about this arc, in order to figure out what x is, we have to figure out what this arc is. And in order to figure out what this arc is, we have to find the angle that's associated with that arc. So if we follow the sides back, you can see that this arc is associated or paired with this angle back here, which is angle T. So in order to find out what this arc is, we have to know what this angle is right here. Well, at this point in time, we can't figure out what this angle is yet, but we do have enough information to find that. So what we do know is that we know that from the arc from S to T is 138 degrees. And we know that that arc is associated with this angle, angle R right here. So they're opposite one another. That means that they go together. So we know that the arc is bigger than the inscribed angle. This is an inscribed angle because its vertex is on the circle. So to go from the arc to the angle, we just have to take 138 and we have to divide that by 2. So this angle right here is 69 degrees. And you can also see that from R to T, we have a 150 degree arc. And again, if we follow these sides back and find the angle that it's paired with, we can see that again it's another inscribed angle, angle S. And in order to find angle S, we just have to take its intercepted arc and we have to divide it by 2. So 150 degrees divided by 2 will give us 75 degrees. All right, so now we have enough information to figure out what the measured angle T is. And the way that we can do that is, if you look at the shape that's inscribed in this circle, it's a triangle, and we know that all 3 of the angles in a triangle have to add up to 180 degrees. So if we take 69 plus 75, that's equal to 144. Okay? If we take 180 and subtract out that 144, what that's going to give us is this third angle right here, angle T, which I believe is 36. So we know that the measure of angle S is 36 degrees. All right, so if we know what the angle is, we know that this is an inscribed angle, and we know that its intercepted arc has to be twice as big as the angle. So if we take 36 times 2, we get 72 degrees, which means that this out here has to be 72 degrees. So in order to make 8x 72, we just have to set those two things equal to each other. So 8x is equal to 72 degrees. We divide both sides by 8 to get x is equal to 9 degrees. Again, we're doing a similar problem to the last one, finding the measure of the arc in this case. So what we have to do this time is we're finding where this question mark is, which is the arc from Y to Z. So And again, in order to find the arc, we have to pair it up with an angle. We have to match it up with an angle. So if we follow the sides, we can see that it goes with this inscribed angle, angle X. Inscribed because the vertex is on the circle. So in order to find this arc right here, first we have to know what this angle is. And the way to find out what this angle is again to use what we know about triangles, because if we look, we can see that there's a triangle inscribed in this circle. So if we take 41 plus 99, that's 140 degrees. So we know that 41 plus 99 is 140 degrees. To find this third angle here, we just have to take 180 minus 140, which is equal to 40 degrees. So we know that this angle, angle X, is 40 degrees. Once we know what this angle is, we can use what we know about the relationships between inscribed angles and their intersected arcs to figure out what this arc is out here. So if we take 40 and multiply it by 2, that will give us the measure of this arc out here, because we know that the arc is twice the size of the angle. So 40 times 2 is equal to 80 degrees. So that means that this arc out here is 80 degrees. All right, again, we're trying to find the measure of this angle down here, angle H. So here's the vertex of that angle. We can see that it's inscribed because its vertex is on the circle. So again, following these sides out is going to help us find out where that intersected arc is. So remember, the intersected arc is going to be in between those two sides. So the intersected arc goes all the way from T and goes all the way around the circle until we get to G. Well, we don't know what this arc is, and in order to find this angle, we have to know how many degrees are in this arc. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to figure out what this arc is. And the way that we can do that is to figure out how many degrees we have in these other two labeled arcs first, because we know that there are 360 degrees in a circle. So if the arc from T to G is so many degrees, then we know that the other arc on the other side from G to T has to add up to 360. So if we take 118 plus 60, we get 178 degrees. So we know that this arc behind the angle here is 178 degrees. So in order to find this intercepted arc here, we just take 360 minus 178, and that gives us 182 degrees. Okay, now that 182 just tells us what the intersected arc is. It doesn't tell us what the angle is, because remember, central angles are equal to their intercepted arc, but inscribed angles are half of their intercepted arc. So if we know that the arc is 182 degrees, all we have to do is find what half of that is. So 182 divided by 2 is 91 degrees. So the measure of angle H down here is 91 degrees. All right, this is the last example that we're going to do, and then I'm going to have you do an exit slip. The exit slip papers are up on the podium. Please make sure that you're doing the exit slip without talking to your neighbors and without looking through your notes. Please at least try something so that I know where I can help you best. If you don't write anything down, then I can't help you. So at least put something down. Tell me what you're confused about. Tell me what doesn't make sense. If you don't write anything down, I can't help. So please let me know how I can help you best. All right, last one that we're going to look at here. So again, we're looking for this angle right here, angle Z, which again is an inscribed angle because its vertex is on the center of the circle. So in order to know this angle, we have to figure out where the intercepted arc is. So again, we're going to draw the lines out. And we can see that the intersected arc is going to be in between those two sides. So it goes from R to X. Here's our intersected arc. Again, we don't know what the intersected arc is, but we do have enough information to find out what that intersected arc is equal to. Because if you look, we can see that this right here, this side of the angle, is a diameter, which makes this half over here a semicircle. So the whole thing from Z to X is 180 degrees. We know that this arc from Z to R is 96 degrees. So in order to find out what R to X is, we just have to take 180 minus 96, which is equal to 84. So that means from R to X is 84 degrees. Again, that doesn't tell us the measure of the angle because it's an inscribed angle, and an inscribed angle is half the measure of its intersected arc. So in order to find out what the angle is, all we have to do is take the arc, which is 84 degrees, and divide that by 2, which is 42 degrees. So we know that the measure of angle Z is 42 degrees. Okay, again, please make sure that you have your notes put away. Please no talking to your neighbors for the exit slip. Please make sure that you put your name on it. When you're finished, put it into the basket, into the appropriate basket, and grab your assignment.